code of conduct.
We want to make sure that there are guardrails on the code of conduct. It's an important tool.
The province brings in new rules for city councillors. She lost her husband in a bike accident.
Calgarians need to take what they're doing seriously.
A call for drivers to be more careful. And youth unemployment rising.
I think there should be more programs just like this one right here.
Job seekers hope they can find something in this one-stop shop.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. The Alberta government is moving ahead with a new universal code of conduct for municipal councillors, less than a year after the province prohibited communities from having their own. Jordan Canigan is at City Hall with more, and Jordan, complaints will now go to an independent third party.
That's exactly right, Ian. If this is eventually passed, it means that any of those complaints against members of councils in municipalities across the province will go to a third party that is appointed by the province. Now, the municipal affairs minister will also be able to launch investigations of his own and call for those investigations, and will ultimately have the final say on most of those matters. And it comes just 10 months after the province amended rules to prohibit municipalities from implementing their own codes of conduct. In Calgary, it meant the city no longer had an integrity commissioner and ethics advisor. The province now wants to see one set of rules for every municipality to follow. It'll be for complaints against council members about misconduct, bad behavior, misuse of influence, and any allegations of financial impropriety. Now, the minister says old codes of conduct were sometimes used improperly, while these rules hold council accountable while protecting freedom of speech.
When you looked at the history of the code of conduct, there were instances of weaponization that many members of the public, the media, and elected officials would say that it was being abused at times. We want to make sure that there are guardrails on the code of conduct. It's an important tool. The Councillor Accountability Framework allows local municipal leaders to be able to hold their colleagues accountable.
Now, proposed changes would also see a sunshine list established for municipal officials right across the province. Now, the municipal affairs minister says that he was not given any heads up and was not aware of the complaints that are related to the RCMP investigation that saw several current and former members of Calgary Council have their devices seized last week. But Dan Williams says it involves allegations of fraud and corruption, and being that those are criminal matters, it was right to go through RCMP first. Ian?
Thank you, Jordan. Alberta's Elections Boundaries Commission is calling for 2 new ridings in Calgary. Those ridings would be Calgary Confluence in the inner city and Calgary Nose Creek in the north end of the city. The commission found Calgary's population growth warrants the new constituencies. It also recommended for the first time 4 so-called hybrid ridings in Calgary that include rural areas outside the city. Calgary Glenmore would become Calgary Glenmore Sutina to include the First Nation, and Calgary Falconridge Conrich would include communities east of the city. The commission made the recommendations even though it said there was an orchestrated campaign against the hybrid ridings. The UCP caucus says they'll review the report before making a comment on it. Calgary police are investigating a serious assault in the southeast community of Ogden that's left 1 man in life-threatening condition. Officers were called to a home in the 2300 block of Crestwood Road around 9 o'clock Wednesday night for reports of a fight inside. When they arrived, they found a man in medical distress who was rushed to hospital. No suspects are in custody, but the homicide unit is now taking over the case. Police are calling this domestic in nature, but haven't clarified what that means for a relationship between the people involved. Neighbors say police have frequently attended this house with a constant flow of people coming and going, and some raising concerns about possible drug activity.
The front room was lit up, so we looked outside, and there they were. Outside, lots of police, and the ambulance pulled up, and we just heard one of the policemen come out and told them to get in there because the guy wasn't breathing. And so they went rushing in. It's not surprising, unfortunately, to see police here, which is sad, because they've been here a lot. We phoned them a lot. Everybody's phoned them because it's just always something bad going on there.
Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Tips can be provided to the CPS non-emergency line or anonymously through Crime Stoppers. More than 200 charges have been laid against 7 people in connection to a shoplifting spree at several Calgary businesses. Investigators accuse the group of working together in a string of robberies of 73 Ace Liquor and TJX Canada stores. They happened between March and October of last year, costing the businesses more than $96,000. An 8-month-long investigation between CPS, RCMP, and Lethbridge Police led to numerous theft, robbery, and weapons-related charges against the 7 men and women. One person has been arrested, but police are trying to locate the others. As traffic fatalities drive toward a new record high, city officials and police say road safety is everyone's responsibility. Tim Brook joins us now. And Tim, it's been a rough 2026 for drivers so far.
And Ian, that's not just because of the snow we have right now or the increasing amounts of traffic we're seeing in our city. Police say they're also noticing an uptick in what they're referring to as passive driving. That's people just not paying attention as much as they should behind the wheel and putting themselves and others at risk. Now, there have already been more than 5,000 collisions in our city this year, and 8 people have been killed. That's actually twice as many as this time last year. We spoke with a woman today whose husband was hit and killed on his bike in an intersection where he had the right of way. She's urging drivers to just slow down and look up.
Corey doesn't have a voice anymore. People who have been in these accidents, they can't speak for themselves, so I can speak for them. Calgarians need to take what they're doing seriously. When you're behind a wheel of a car, you need to be observant and aware of everybody around you at all times.
And so to really drive that point home that you just heard, Calgary Police and the city are continuing their rollout of what they've called the Drive to Zero campaign. They've essentially produced a number of short videos that really just show the impact it can have when drivers and pedestrians don't follow traffic laws. Ian, the whole idea here is to get people aware of what they might be doing wrong on the road so we can prevent any future tragedies.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. The Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Saskatchewan Crossing has reopened last week while Parks Canada was doing avalanche control. An avalanche sent snow onto the road. It covered a 250-meter stretch, and in places it was up to 12 meters deep. Crews have been working all week to clear this massive pile of snow near Mount Hector. The highway reopened this afternoon, but it is single-lane alternating traffic near the slide. There's also a no-stopping zone along that stretch of highway. Danielle, we've been waiting for Friday with good reason, for many reasons all week long, and with the weather improving, there's another reason to enjoy it.
Yeah, you saw Tim out there, the sun shining.
The sunshine, blue sky.
Oh, that's so nice to see the sun. A little bit of melting going on. We're going to need a lot of melting happening in parts of the north end of the city and the southwest, where we saw this significant snowfall, and that will all start and already starting to melt off. All right, -5, our current temperature and our daytime high, but yes, there's a bite in the air still, and that will continue tomorrow. With the wind chill right now, it feels more like -13. This is your 24-hour forecast brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen. Family-owned, community-driven. Discover more at 5th Avenue Volkswagen. And throughout the day tomorrow, we will be dealing with some sort of wind chill throughout the morning. -13 is what it will feel like to kick off the day. So a cold start, a mix of sun and cloud, but then a wind out of the west should carry us up to +7 by the afternoon.
Thanks, Danielle. Repairs on the Bearspaw feeder main are nearly complete, and refilling is set to begin tomorrow. It will take 2 to 3 days to gently pump 22 million liters of water into the pipe. City administration says water use went over the limit this week, but that could be because of a leaky valve found at the Shaganappi pump station that has since been repaired. And another update from the city will come on Monday after the water is tested and everything appears ready. But restrictions are not being lifted yet as the pipe is still very vulnerable.
It's not just the sections that we did the reinforcement work on. Those sections actually are the ones that we're the most confident in now. It's the remainder of the pipe that we know has issues and that we have to live with until we have that replacement pipe constructed and operational in December of this year.
Repaving in the area will start soon and lane closures will remain in effect. Next week, the city will let residents know what might happen if there is another break. The city hopes to grow our urban canopy by giving away thousands of free trees next month. The Branching Out program gave out 5,000 trees last year and will double that amount this year. The tree canopy only covers about 9.6% of Calgary, but the city wants to grow that to 16%. You can choose deciduous trees like oak, maple, aspen, birch, crabapple, and tree lilac. Conifers include larch and pine, and free mulch is available at the East Calgary landfill. If you want a tree, you must register on the city's website. It's tough to find work when you have little or no experience. Next, teens and young adults hope to score a job in an era when youth unemployment is high. And don't drink this, a recall of milk products with glass in them. Unemployment among young Canadians is on the rise, but today thousands of job seekers got an opportunity to hand in their resume. Teenagers and young adults streamed into the Big Four building for the city's annual Youth Hiring Fair. Youth unemployment spiked in February to 14%. But here, more than 80 employers were on hand in an environment where teens and young adults can meet face-to-face with hiring managers.
I think there should be more programs just like this one right here, and there should be more there should be more of a base for the youth to actually go out and get those jobs.
As recently as the summer of 2022, the youth unemployment rate reached a record low of 9%. Another job fair taking place in Banff today. 32 employers took part in the Bow Valley Job Fair, looking to fill more than 600 positions. Businesses say they're facing a Canada-wide shortage of tourism workers that is only exacerbated in the mountain community due in large part to a lack of affordable housing.
Me and my partner just moved into a new place and our expenses have increased. Right now I have 2 part-time jobs that are great jobs and everything, but we're struggling to pay the bills every month, so I'm here looking for more of a career type job.
There's places to leave, but the huge prices are also a turnover for a lot of people.
Many businesses at the fair offered seasonal work, while others had long-term opportunities available for those wanting to make the mountain community their permanent home. Of course, those beautiful mountains are just west of us, and the wind is coming in from the west tomorrow too.
Yeah, west and south. That's going to be enough to boost our temperatures above freezing and normal temperatures for this time of year.
Nice.
Normal daytime high is 7 in Calgary. So much warmer tomorrow. And you can see the skies are already brightening up. Some snow is already starting to melt. But what you can expect is a continuous 3-day roller coaster ride. We've been having it and been on that trend this month, and we will continue to be for the rest of this month and likely much of April as well, where temperatures are up and down and we keep getting these bursts of winter. So March and April are our snowiest months. March the snowiest, then April in the city when you compare the entire year. Okay, recent snowfalls. So the one we got Tuesday night through Wednesday morning, again, it was quite a range of snow, but 3 to 28 centimeters is what fell. And Wednesday night to Thursday morning, so the most recent one, traced to 8 centimeters. So in total, some communities saw 28 centimeters of snow. These are the numbers I just got from Environment and Climate Change Canada. All right, heaviest amounts, of course, were in the north end, but some of the southwest corners got some decent snowfall as well. And check out the wind chill that we're dealing with. Minus 13 is what it feels like in Claresholm and in Medicine Hat. And for Calgary, feels like minus 12 right now. So a little more reasonable in Lethbridge, minus 4 with the wind chill, but there's certainly a bite in the air everywhere. It's cool everywhere and well below normal, but some communities will get into the plus double digits in southern Alberta tomorrow, or at least 6, 7 degrees. So a much warmer day and a brighter day. We still have a little bit of flurry activity along the mountains, but that is starting to die out. All of this clears out tonight, so we have a lot of sunshine, but also some cloudy periods throughout the day tomorrow. And then as we get into Saturday, we're going to have the clouds increase. We're going to have the next system start to make its way into Alberta, and it's going to push down the mountains. So by Saturday evening, it will be mainly in the foothills, and we may even see a few flurries Saturday evening in Calgary, and then this should intensify Saturday night in through Sunday. So it's another decent snowfall on the way for the city. So for tomorrow morning, yes, warm in the afternoon, but keep in mind the morning will still be cold with the wind chill. It will feel like -16. Then +7 with gusts around 40 kilometers per hour in the afternoon with a mix of sun and cloud, but we should get a good chunk of sunshine. Mainly cloudy on Saturday, flurries kicking in Saturday evening or Saturday night, and then for Sunday, anywhere from 3 to 6 centimeters with a high of -4. So the cool down arrives again by the weekend.
Health Canada is sharing a recall about milk that may contain pieces of glass. It covers milk products sold under the Farmers, Electoral, and Quebon brands. The 2-liter cartons are on shelves across the country. They should be thrown out or returned to where you bought them. The list of affected products is on the Canadian Food Inspection Agency website. The CFIA is still investigating and could add more products to the recall. It's a Drumheller landmark many of us are familiar with. Still ahead, what it will take to prevent this dinosaur from becoming extinct. The price of recreational properties in Canada is forecast to rise this year. Joining me is Liana Wachniak, investment advisor with Popwich Carmeli Advisory Group. And Liana, what weighed on the markets today?
Well, it's really just the uncertainty today about what is going to be happening in the Middle East. There is some optimism still among investors that we will see a relatively rapid end to the conflict, or at least a ceasefire that will allow oil to continue to flow out of the area and to the rest of the world. However, there is increasing pessimism amongst investors about the length of time that might take. And the longer, of course, that goes on, the worse it is for the bottom line of many of the companies and many of the people that are impacted by the oil, or the lack thereof, that is currently held up in the Persian Gulf. So that is something that is definitely weighing on the markets right now. We saw that affect both the Canadian and the U.S. sides of the border today.
And a report predicts a rise in the value of vacation homes this year.
That's right. Royal LePage is predicting that we'll see about a 4% increase in the average price of vacation or recreational property this year. Across the country, that median would look like it would be just under $605,000 for a piece of property. The most expensive 2 provinces actually are BC, with a median value of over $1 million, and here in Alberta with a median value predicted to be around $881,000. Now, recreational property is a dream for many Canadians. And in fact, with the increasing number of people who are choosing to stay in Canada or traveling within Canada, the demand is quite steady for it. It's one of those things that is either tough to buy into these days if you are looking for something as, a vacation property for your family or for your retirement. If you do own property already, sometimes values going up can be a bit of a double-edged sword as well, because if there is capital gains baked into it and it is not your principal residence, you may be subject to taxes if you choose to sell or pass on that property. So good news for people, I guess, who have that property that's gone up, but still something to think about that's not easy for everybody to manage.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
The Alberta government is making moves to relax its interprovincial trade rules on consumer goods. Legislation was tabled today to drop some regulations to ease the sale of items from other provinces. It's part of the Interprovincial Free Trade Pact agreed to last year. The aim is for provinces to recognize each other's regulations on most goods to avoid duplicating inspections and other requirements. They can maintain their own restrictions on goods involving health and safety. Alberta will keep its own rules for pesticides, plumbing equipment, and gift cards, which are not allowed to expire in our province. The province is introducing new rules for dealing with bad behavior from city councils. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. Last year, Daniel Smith's government prohibited councils from adopting their own code of conduct. Coming up at 6, what Calgary's council thinks of the new guidelines for ensuring integrity and professionalism. Also, Calgary police are asking for help identifying suspects in a shooting last August. We'll show you the new surveillance photos released by investigators. That's coming up. Ian.
Thank you, Tara. The Drumheller Dinosaur has received a clean bill of health. An engineering report on Tyra, the Tyrannosaurus, says the tourist attraction is safe, stable, and ready to welcome visitors. The report says some repairs are needed with an estimated cost of about $154,000. Ongoing maintenance costs will also be required. The Drumheller Chamber of Commerce was going to dismantle the dino in 2029. Public outcry led to the structural assessment. The Chamber says it welcomes funded proposals about how to keep Tyra from extinction. We are warming up tomorrow. We'll get above freezing, certainly by the afternoon. Right now, though, a little chilly in Calgary at -5. Danielle has details coming up. Looks like quite a pleasant day planned for tomorrow, but by the end of the weekend, the snow comes back.
It does. Yeah, we're on this roller coaster ride every few days. And so tomorrow will be the one warm day, and then we dip below freezing for 3 days. -5 is that current temperature. Also our daytime high. A normal high for this time of year is around +7. And hey, look where we get tomorrow. But in the morning, it will be cool to start with. The wind chill will feel like -16. And then Saturday night, flurries arrive. Temperatures cool once again, and another 3 to 6 centimeters of snow possible on Sunday.
Thanks, Danielle. A national group is trying to bridge the gender gap when it comes to technology, and the organization is active in Calgary. HackerGal focuses on getting girls and gender-diverse students into STEAM-related careers. That involves sparking an interest in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Organizers say it's important to start students in the program at a young age because it helps to build confidence.
What we're continuing to see is the lack of representation can create that sense of I don't belong here. And that's a lot of what HackerGal does through our various programming, is we like to show our students that yes, you do, yes, you can.
HackerGal has a student ambassador program so young students can lead their peers in STEAM-related clubs in their own schools. Thanks very much for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.